Whenever you're ready, sir.
Welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans congregate and fanboys cry because their bikes are inferior. What can I do for
Oh, Jesus. Well done, Jake. That one actually, Joe, you meant that one now because
Yeah, I
you
know
didn't
I
make a
did.
mistake in it. Yeah, so
That was true. Yeah.
unfortunately, you're back with the two of us today. CB had something on again this week, so hopefully we'll have him back next week anyway. So yeah, Misano. So you're watching this on Monday. The test is on Monday, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. But let's kick off with the sprint race yesterday, which was Saturday. What did you think?
What was there to think? There really wasn't much of anything.
Yeah, it was dull as they go. Like Misano is one of those circuits where I kind of call it like it's how to say it's the very same as Valencia. Like 0.2 of a second is like half a second. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's not easy to make it up. But also it's incredibly hard to pass. Like you show someone a wheel, there's either two things. It's either going to be contact or you're going to get through by the hair on your chinny chin chin. Like it's a risk to pass. And the sprint race, Martin's launch was fucking unbelievable. Like
Unbelievable.
when I saw it, I was like, "Is this close to a jump start?" So I was watching the
That's what I
timing
thought.
scrape.
That's what I thought. You're waiting for the replay for a jump start. At
Yeah,
least
yeah,
I thought somebody would at least try and like to calm everybody's nerves and do it anyway.
yeah. But he got there. Now look, I think in fairness to Martin, he didn't have the best qualifying, obviously, in fourth. He made his mind up before the race that I'm having it. Do you know what I mean? And he leveled them, and he was very aggressive at the start, which he had to be. Do you know what I mean? Like if Pecco got out in front, Pecco had the 0.2 of a second, even though their pace was somewhat similar. But I think Pecco would have pulled 3-4 tenths of a second. Now, because anyway, what I was surprised with was that Pecco didn't have the answer to him. Realistically, 5 laps behind him, his tire was cooked. Game over. Look, like the sprint, and it kind of fizzled out to a little bit of a. I wouldn't say I thought it was going to be a firework, and it ended up being a little sparkler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was still good to see, and there was some good passing and good racing. But I suppose on to Sunday's race, which is the main one. Like I'm a little bit surprised. Okay, so Pecco took off. He got the good start this time. Martin got a good start as well. So they're definitely running the similar sort of start system where everyone thought that Ducati were going to take that start system off both or one. They haven't.
You know what? Wait till next year, and everybody's gonna cry. They took off the well, not next year, but when they do the new rules, they're gonna cry that they don't have the ride system, the ride height. They're gonna cry that they don't have the arrow. You wait and see.
You're right. I'm not really too worried about that because something at that stage they'll all be equal. Still, again, do you know what I mean?
They'll still cry. They don't.
Yeah, but look, you learn in life.
Now they might not say anything because they'll probably give the kibosh on that. You might be like, I don't care if you don't like it, shut up. But
yeah, exactly, and I think that's the way it's going to happen. But I suppose a couple of things like Pecco took off. Pecco was fine. He righted the rod, I suppose, of the sprint race. But Martin again was aggressive. You could see Martin. I want to get past you. I want to get past you, and he was going to. And then, I did a video during the week where Martin said, like sometimes I still lack experience, and like he got spooked. And I don't know. It's kind of one of those things, right? Bailing into the pits for me that early that's kind of a move that you do when your title contender is out there. Do you know what I mean? You match what he does. Do you know what I mean? All you're trying to do is get 2 or 3 more points than him. It doesn't really matter what goes on behind you, right? And I can't for the life of me figure out what the fuck were you thinking. Like, do you know what I mean? I get you. I get it that the mental range, but
that's
like
a decision that the team is not. That's not a team decision. That's a decision that they're going to give it to the rider. They're going to say, "You're on the bike. What are you going to? What is it like? I can't feel it from here."
Exactly, but like it was drizzling for an hour beforehand. It was like it wasn't that this was a shock race or a shock rain downpour or whatever. They knew the rain was coming. They knew it was still warm. They knew that any rain, unless it was fucking beating off the ground, but the track was going to dry. Do you know what I mean? And I just think it was a real rookie-esque move in fighting for a championship because it cost them 19 points today, right? To do that, like, so when, and then I suppose for Pecco, like, I think he did the right move. Like, I don't think, like, when it was wet, he stayed behind Mark. But I'm so surprised again that they didn't build anything into Pecco's race strategy. Like Pecco's race strategy yesterday, the bike was set up to run at the front. That's why the tire pressure went boom, right? Again, you know, they didn't split the difference. They didn't do it, you know, so take back the tire pressure is small, but they knew there was a possibility that it could be a wet race as well. And I don't know. Did you know this? But the second that a flag to flag race is committed on the by the FIM, the tire pressure thing is gone. So as soon as they say you can change bikes, there's no governance on tire pressures anymore.
Good. They should do it for the whole time.
But Joe, what I mean? So anyway, but look, I thought they would probably have started Pecco's tire pressure maybe a little bit lower than the previous day, just in case.
He was smart this time. You could tell that he was thinking, if I get past Marquez, right, I could be in the lead, and he didn't do it.
Yeah,
he didn't go for it. That was smart in his case, and he was very, very. I was telling you how pain meds work. The second day, when you cover the first day, when you adapt your nerves for pain management. The second time you go to do it again, the second day, it's not as effective, and it's not. You can't do as be as precise. So the management was wearing off. You could tell by the end of the race. He got off that bike. He looked like Frankenstein.
So I have I have a quote from him from Friday, and what he said on Friday, and he said the pain is huge here. Every time I change direction on the bike, it feels like a knife in the ribs.
Oh, you know, he must
have that was Friday now, to be fair, right?
Could be, you know what, that could very well could be. It sounds more like of a torn cartilage away from the bone than a break.
Yeah, but look, he wasn't in a good place. Let's just put it like that. You know what I mean?
You know why I say that is it lasts longer than a break.
Oh yeah, but for me, I think there was two. I think there's a couple of things going on. I think he did try to come back at Mark, and you could see that he was bringing the gap down. I think it went down to 8 tenths, and he brought it back down to 4 or 5 tenths. But you could see that he was definitely in pain all weekend. But you could also see he was kind of like, if I go past Marquez, I'm going to have to bash pass, and it's probably going to be
ugly.
It's going to be ugly. There's a risk of falling.
And it's Marquez. Will he come back at you again? And now we got.
I don't think he was. I don't think he was afraid of the battle at all. I don't think so. But I think he just didn't have the energy. And I think
a little leery of Marquez, though. You know, reciprocating and bashing back into him, and taking them both down. You know what I mean? It was not a good situation. It was a smart move for him to back off on that one.
Yeah, well, look, he needed to get look, I think he kind of made it. Like, I have a feeling he's blaming the tire pressure rather than the physicality. If you get me, because as I look at the racer, you're never going to say, "Oh, I was in too much pain to race," right? You can't give it up. But I don't know. I think Mark rode a phenomenal race. He was brave when he needed to be brave. It was in his conditions, but like you could see, like Pecco, as soon as the wet weather conditions came in, you could see he was like, I don't really want to lead. Do you know what I mean? But I don't want to be third or fourth either. Do you know what I mean? So, but look, saying that, I thought, look, it was a fantastic ride from Mark again. I think he, like, that the term London buses comes to mind for me. But you know, let's see how things go 2 weeks time here. Hopefully they will all be fit. It won't be as sketchy conditions, and we'll see what it is. But look, again, it is like a Valencia circuit, right? You can have 15 guys all within a second here. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be near impossible to pass because some of them are going to be all within a tenth of a second of each other. But look, still, it's an incredible racetrack. It should let itself go. Like, then after that, we have Indonesia, who I think is going to be Marc Marquez's country.
No. We have a double. Next week we have Misano again.
2 weeks time we have Misano again, and then we have Indonesia.
It's 2 weeks time. I thought we were going Misano, and then Indonesia. We're going Misano, Indonesia, and then back to Misano again.
No, we're going Misano 2 weeks time.
Okay.
And then I think the next one is Indonesia.
Oh, okay. We're on the same page then. Yeah. Okay.
So, but Indonesia, if you remember, is a track that's only used once a year, and it's going to be dirty and greasy, and that realistically falls into Marc Marquez's country.
Yes. Definitely not Pecco country.
No, it's definitely not. And again, it's not even Martin country. You know, no, saying that, like, what's the gap down to now? I think it's like 7 points in the championship. But Marc Marquez is now like 53 points behind or so, I think. Anything is possible now with Marquez. Now, I still won't say he's a title contender yet, right? You know, 53 points from these two is still a big gap to go.
Yeah.
Not impossible, and I'm not saying it's not impossible. I think he needs to be within around 30 points to be kind of like, to really put the shits up the boys. You know what I mean? He's thereabouts, but like another weekend where they fuck up and he maximizes it, I think that would be it. I think
he needs them to make some mistakes. Yeah.
Like he's gonna, like, even if he wins every single race out. So how many have we left? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So even if he wins every race and sprint race, and Martin, say for example, finishes second, he still doesn't have enough. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So let's get that gap down to 25, 30 points. Then it's on like fucking Donkey Kong. Then the pressure will come in. You know, that the fact that it's one race within one race weekend's points. Do you know what I mean? So that's where I think it will. Do I think it's possible? Well, look, Pecco came back from 91 points after a summer break. Do you know what I mean? Anything is possible.
Did Pecco need Martin to make mistakes?
Well, Fabio made mistakes, yeah.
Or Fabio.
He didn't, right? He outrode Fabio. To be fair, he outscored Fabio. Fabio did make some mistakes. And then there was the pressure cooker. Do you know what I mean? It went all the way down to the last race, if you remember it. Do you know what I mean? And he needed to, what was it? Pecco needed to finish, was it 14th?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think, look, Pecco, so I think Pecco and Mark, I think it was a good battle. I think it was sensible out of Pecco. I have a feeling he's going to go and blame tire pressures. And just so people know, we're shooting this maybe 40 minutes after the race, so we haven't seen any of the interviews yet.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to go the tire pressure route. I have a feeling from I think the knife pain in the ribs, that doesn't go away in 2 days.
Oh no!
So I think there's a bit of that. I do think probably, like for me, if he's going to blame tire pressures, probably teams should be looking at it and saying, why are we making the same mistake again? Do you know what I mean? That someone did get in front of us. I think any Bastianini.
When he scared me when he had that knife figure, because I thought, oh, a brake is like a dull ache. Okay.
Yeah.
Cartilage is that knife feeling, and they last and are so much more hurt.
Well, yeah. Look, that's what these back-to-back races are. I think there's a bit of something needs to be done, but anyway, that's besides the point. I think any Bastianini had a good solid weekend, which I think he needed. I was delighted, absolutely delighted to see Fabio Quartararo. What an absolute fucking legend of a rider. Like, I'm sorry though, right? But realistically, besides the top three, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fourth place was 14 seconds behind Marc Marquez. You'd fifth place 16 seconds, sixth place 17 seconds, seventh place 17 seconds, and eighth place 19 seconds. So there was a good tussle. Like for me, that Yamaha had absolutely no fucking business being in that group of people. You know, like that is like you were. What are you doing here? You're not invited to this fucking party. Like,
yeah, the other bikes they're looking at him and snubbing it, going.
Look at you and your little Yamaha, your little blue Yamaha. Yeah. No, I look.
Take the Honda with you too.
yeah. Get back down there with the Honda. Yeah.
Back in the bus.
Yeah. So look, it was good. I think he rode an absolutely brilliant race, and even in the sprint, he did really well, putting the bike really where it shouldn't be, of course. But again, for me as well, Brad Binder did a really, really good race, and like I think, okay, KTM are a bit in the poo, and I know, like the peer mobility group are also in a lot of trouble. So the owners of KTM, they're like 1.2 billion in debt, and there's massive talks about worldwide layoffs within the whole organizations. So realistically, KTM need results. Do you know what I mean? To justify the fucking spend that they're doing, right? Now look, we covered this an awful lot, that MotoGP is a marketing exercise and a marketing write-off and all of this stuff. But the first thing to do when you're a lot of fucking bobs in debt is you reduce your marketing fund, right? So
the problem with that is when people hear that you're losing, you're pulling out because of money, they think the company's going out of business, and it makes it unstable. Price Suzuki lost 30% of their bike sales instantly when they pulled out.
Yeah,
it's an odd situation. It's an odd thing of power sports.
It is, right? But how many road racing or super sport type bikes do KTM have?
Yeah, that's I know.
Zero. Yeah. So, they're in a road racing field, right? And they're like, if you're buying an enduro bike tomorrow, majority of people will go buy a KTM. Well, not majority, but you know what I mean. That's their major playing field. They're known to be bulletproof. They're known to be this, that, and the other. Like a really good machine. So it still beggars the question, like gas. Why was that even there? Do you know what I mean? They make trials of bikes and fucking thing again, similar to KTM. It's a funny thing, but look, obviously it is a worry that they are. There is pressure. Let's just say coming in, and for Brad Binder,
buying an MV, that was a smart move, and that took up a market niche that's growing in that case, and it makes sense. Now watch them pull that one out and leave gas going. It's just blows
yeah.
my
But
mind.
next year's bikes are going to be KTM. The second team is going to be a KTM team. It's not going to be, and it's not going to be gas. It's not going to be MV. It's going to be a second KTM.
Oh no! I said the marketing cuts. Watch, it'll be an MV, not.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but again, I suppose the important thing for Brad Binder, right? He has to, no matter what, he fucking has to beat Acosta this season. Like if Acosta win or beats him this season, then
it don't look like it.
But it does now. Acosta's crashed out a few times, and Brad is closing the gap back again. Do you know what I mean? So you're kind of
excuse crashes when you're rookie, okay? But when you look
exactly.
At it, when you look at it, apples for apples, so to speak, you say who's the faster, more complete rider? You have to say.
I would tend to necessarily agree with you, but I always still believe that if your new teammate walks into the garage and that's a teammate that has beaten you in the standings the year before, regardless of whatnot, you're already on the back foot. Do you know what I mean? Now, what's going to happen in Valencia is exactly that. If you look at the standings now. Where is it? So Pedro Acosta is on 152 and Brad Binder is on 161. Right, up to a couple of weeks ago, it was Acosta was ahead of him. So what my point here is that Brad has to beat Acosta, because if Acosta comes in as beating you as a rookie in your first year, you're already project number 2 in the team's eyes. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't matter that he has the potential talent and being the future. That is a separate thing. But if you add that to the list of being beaten by a rookie on the same and equal equipment, remember that. It's not that you were beaten by a Ducati or whatnot, and now you're coming in to ride a KTM. You were beaten on a KTM by a rookie. So look, I think that's going to be a very, very interesting battle throughout the rest of the season between the two of them. Very personal. I think it could get a little bit dirty, actually, if I'm honest. Who else? I think the Aprilias. What?
Good.
The Aprilias, another shocking race weekend.
I jinxed them.
Well, I don't know. Did you notice they're running a new exhaust system this weekend? So I don't know. Are they preparing really for the test? But I don't. Yeah. Go on. What was your jinx? Oh, you wore a shirt. Yeah.
I jinxed them just like I did Quartararo.
Yeah. I don't know. Like the last 2 races. Okay, the last race in Aragon, that was an edge case one that we're actually going to go to happen again in Indonesia, where the track conditions were just shite. Mm-hmm. Here they should have. I don't know, their factory is just down the fucking road. It's a highly embarrassing.
Like they do the racetrack. It's intermittent. They're like they go and they make jumps and leaps and downs, but then it has a swallow a valley. Then it jumps up in a peaks and then it goes back into a valley. You get my drift?
Mm.
Yeah, they come out like world beaters and then they level off or go down and up and down.
Is that funding? I wonder. Because they have they have fairly decent test privileges compared to other manufacturers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. They have the talent. It's not like anybody does. The engineers want to be a pro engineers. They can get the cream.
Yeah,
it's a feather in your cap to be a pro engineer.
It for me though. It's just it's a very worrying thing for the likes of Jorge Martin, who is going to walk in there in a couple of months' time and be expected to be a front runner when they're so inconsistent, and the bike has such small setup window that
and they still seem to make team mistakes. That's the thing that throws me. It's almost like they're too nice. They make team mistakes of dopey shit, like I said, the ride height or blah 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 blah. It's goofy.
But it seems the bike is a little bit fragile in some areas of those. Which look, that could be a thing of trying to make things as light as possible, which are just causing problems. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I think definitely this year, like the gap between Aprilia and Ducati has never been as big as it's been. Do you know what I mean? In the last season, it was fairly close. I won't say close, but it was there this season. I don't really think so. We also had. We'll talk about our favorites, the Hondas. It was a tough weekend for the Repsol Honda team.
Really?
Yeah. Toughest weekend that they had. Joan Mir was out with a gastroenteritis bug, so he didn't take part in the weekend at all. And Marini didn't take part today, citing that he has fever. So there's either someone cooking dodgy shit in the Repsol Honda garage, or they're all eating it. Or something. But look, the test tomorrow is fucking crucial for them.
Now, folks, when they say all new, don't get your tits in a ringer. It's not going to be all new. I want to bite my tongue. I doubt that it's going to be all new. Okay.
I would say they've touched everywhere, but how big the update on everywhere is going to be is the big thing.
Yeah.
So I would
how well they touch is another story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's it. Sometimes you touch the right place and you get a good result.
Yeah.
And that happens.
Sometimes it gets you slap in the face.
Exactly, and that's motorcycles and women. Yes. So,
and I want to break in now was because something totally different. Not really. I've been looking at World Superbike. We don't go over World Superbike a lot here, but this season has been like a Toprak show for the whole thing. I mean, even when somebody as avid as me goes, I don't know, is there anything, am I going to?
Well, you know why I stopped watching it,
right?
Yeah.
And I did, but it brings me back to the point where I keep saying it over and over again. And let me keep finish on this. Performance finds its own level. They give BMW a loophole, right? They shouldn't have gotten with the chassis adjustments or being able to work on it. Okay, then they hinder Ducati and say, okay, they have the weight hindrance. Okay, then they hit him for the RPM penalty because they have too much power. They're too fast, which just absolutely boils my blood to hear something like that. There's no such thing as a too fast racer. Okay, if they would have just left it alone, all right. Guess what? The BMW, who's now dominating, okay, the series, would not be dominating the way it is now, and we'd have good racing, or at least a lot better racing. All right. And then we didn't save any time with I want all racing good all the time. Performance finds its own level. Remember, we always say it's not cheating to copy, right?
Yeah, but I think
Works.
so.
Always
All
did.
right,
That goes with
whoa,
cars,
whoa. All
motorcycles.
right, calm your tits there now a second, right? Because
Yeah.
the start of your thing is completely incorrect. The bike that BMW are now on is a completely new spec bike, right?
Yeah.
So that M bike is a completely different version. So went through a complete different homologation to the one that they were allowed to change the frame rails on. Just to point that out now, the completely different spec. So they went away and they built.
So they already had the thing in the pipeline. Is what you're saying?
So they were allowed to change the spec of the frame 2 or 3 years ago, right? Honda were allowed to adjust the headstock of the bike, if you remember, because of the tires. So the M bike that they have built, what BMW have done is they've gone through a full R&D process and built a Ducati beater. That's realistically what they have done. Okay, so it's not. There's been no advantage given to BMW by the FIM for the current bike that they have been.
Current bike. Okay.
Okay.
They shouldn't have done it they shouldn't have done it in the first place. But anyhow, but still, they still should.
Okay. But secondly, right, Bautista is having a fucking pig of a year himself. Right. Go back 2 years ago, it was the Batista show, right? I have openly said this, that why I stopped watching. I think firstly, James Wilson's voice fucking right. I have to watch it on mute. And secondly, I didn't want to watch a race for second, right? Which what it was. Okay. So for me, I found it particularly boring watching the Ducati going off. Now I can say I don't disagree that the penalty should have been put in place. But saying that, Bautista is getting beaten in the championship currently by Bulica.
Yeah, let's go about to bring that up. Yes.
Right. So what we're seeing here, Jake, is not the performance finds its own leveling, right? Kawasaki haven't really put a lot of money into their bike, nor have Yamaha, right? They haven't. And let's be fucking very fair and straight in this. They're not putting the money into the racing. BMW went away and built a new bike. Ducati have gone away and built
racing if they wouldn't have hindered the Ducati and then against the BMWs.
Yeah, but what I suppose the mindset of things is like they know the manufacturers are just going to fuck off, and like I can genuinely see Yamaha pissing off from World Superbikes. What's in it for them now?
Oh, that's what you think they're afraid of. Oh, all right.
That's why I think that they brought in that penalty. But I don't think they thought that this BMW would be such a step forward either. Do you know what I mean? Anyway.
Yeah, true.
So
but they shouldn't do it. It always works out in the end. I'm not talking about just cars, just motorcycles, cars, everything. That they've tried this so many years and it never freaking worked. So
look, I don't disagree with you, but you know, there's some of the regulations there.
No, we probably still have a Aprilia in there if they didn't, because they pushed them the fuck out. Into my language.
Yeah. But anyway, back to the racing. So today's race, look, all in all, I thought it was pretty good. A little bit boring, like the sketchy sessions. I wish the sketchy laps went on for maybe 5 or 6 laps. Would have been interesting to see what would have happened then. Do you know what I mean? But all in all,
the only thing I can think of is what happens if it starts raining. You know what I mean? Again, like if it went like 5 laps into it, when they said, "Oh, it stopped raining," and then he was falling back, and then it started to rain. Right? I'm like, shit. Will his tires burn up before it rains? Because folks, if you got those rain tires. If when it gets dry again, they chew up. They get
well. That's that. Well, realistically, but that was it with Jorge Martin. The minute he did 1.5, 2 laps on those rain tires, they're fucked, gone. Unless that rain. Yeah, of course, because it takes the edge. It takes the edge off the tires. So
I thought it gave you at least. I thought it gave you like 3 or 4.
Hello, it wasn't even wet. You're rolling out.
I thought the wet tires held up longer than 1 or 2 laps. Though that's just surprising to me.
Not when you put fucking
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, wow.
Not when you put 300 horsepower through them on a fucking dry track where they can't get any bit of cooling. Like, do you know what I mean? It just take the edge off the tires, and that'll be it. You'll be cooked. The test tomorrow with today when you're watching it. So we'll probably do something. I'll probably do something on the test tomorrow, bring you some times and stuff, and give you an understanding. But again, tomorrow is a massive day for Honda and Yamaha. Massive. Like, I will be very fucking honest, right? If you don't see the Honda riders and Yamaha riders skipping down the fucking pit lane, like fucking fucking happy out, right? Then 2024 or 2025 is going to be another fucking pig. Do you know what I mean? Like, they need to bring something. Normally, and this is where I'm a little bit worried, normally you see Stefan Bradl kind of running some of the stuff that they were using or going to use, and he didn't see shit.
Yeah.
Nothing, so this has me a little bit concerned. Yamaha, obviously, Cal wasn't there this weekend. They couldn't bring Remy because he was racing. And this is kind of like, again, I know we spoke about this a while back about Yamaha, but like they have not open testing, but they have a lot of tires that they can use and a lot of go, right? And they can't even get a fucking wildcard rider for an event. They have no stock of riders.
Oh, come on.
Who are they going to put on the bike this weekend? Cal's out. Dovizioso said, fucking no way. Remy Gardner was racing. Johnny Ray was racing. Who are you going to put on the bike?
God damn.
Who are you going to put in the bike? It's a fucking... I know I'm asking a rhetorical question, right? But that's just showing you how limited Yamaha are in the vision.
What about Takanaka? What the hell is one of the guys out of the Japanese section?
What fucking good are they going to do? They're 5, 6, 7 seconds behind the pace. They won't even qualify.
Yeah, I think they'd have won. You know what I mean? Somebody.
Here goes my point. They have the only ones that they can give feedback on the bike realistically are their race riders. Everyone that they like, Remy Gardner, great chap. I think he did very well out in the thing. Not qualified enough to give honest feedback on what a MotoGP bike should feel like. None. Dovizioso, oh yeah, I'm happy to ride around. When he was doing it, he was like 2 seconds a lap off the fucking pace. No, like
it's folks, because you can't just have anybody jump. You don't want anybody to jump on it. Any Joe Blow guy from a track day, they ain't gonna give you shit back. Yes, up.
Yeah. So
it's like a fighter when you're sparring for a title fight. You don't want a guy that's a sissy. You're gonna punch and knock out every in one with a jab. You want a guy that's gonna give you a rough road to hoe.
But you also want someone that's going to mimic the strengths and weaknesses of your opponent, right? And like when you look at it, okay, Augusto Fernandez is going to be a test rider for Yamaha next season, right? He's still very new, right? But again, he has experience of the current tires and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? And he has race experience, and look. Anyway, I just think it's you look at the likes of KTM, they have 2 proven MotoGP riders as their test riders. Do you know what I mean? Who can comfortably be between the top 8 to top 12 for 14 maybe. Do you know what I mean? When they go out and ride. Like, that's what you want. That is, like, if you're trying to close that gap, that's what you need. Like, you look at next season, we're going to go in. We have Fabio Quartararo, Alex Rins, Miguel Oliveira, all three are confirmed for next season. Jack Miller's one is done and dusted, just to be announced, but it's been confirmed by sources that he will be announced in the coming days as a Pramac Yamaha rider next season. Okay, so that's a good amount of, like, and I mean this with all due respect, and I know people will be fucking giving out to me. Miguel and Jack, they are very good steady Eddie riders. You know, they're Jack will be able to work on, and I think this is fair. I think Jack will be able to work on one lap performance out of the bike, and I think Miguel will be able to work on kind of pace. But again, saying that, like, I'm really unsure of Miguel's pace. He has the flash in the pan, and anyone prove me fucking wrong. He won in a KTM a couple of years ago on the Tech 3 bike and whatnot. I won numerous championship years ago, but you know something, I couldn't win a fucking championship now. Right, so let's leave the past in the past. The current situation is he has a 2024 spec Aprilia bike, you know, and he is performing nowhere near where he should be. He is the bones of 50% of the points behind the leading Aprilia on the grid. So, you know, and he is how many points ahead of what's his teammate? Raul, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Raul Fernandez. Miguel Oliveira has 65 points in the championship, and Raul has 46. So he's beating Raul by 20 points or 19 points. You know, Miguel should be well over the 100 points at this stage, in my view. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I am worried looking at the Yamaha this weekend. There's definitely new aero on the front of the bike. The head cowling of the bike looks a little bit skinnier. I know Fabio was trying a new frame over the weekend that helps the bike turn. So is that something that they were looking at before bringing in that new engine? So look, they're going to have to start unleashing horsepower now at this stage, right? Because it is getting embarrassing down the straight. They are getting murdered, and
unless we're going to go with a V4, they got to roll the dice.
They have to really, like, you look. We all blatantly saw it in Motorland Aragon last weekend. Pecco versus Fabio down a straight line. That was just fucking embarrassing. Do you know what I mean? Now, saying that, the bike was good in the corners.
And folks, we're not saying your inline 4 is unreliable. We just say they can't put as much horsepower into an inline 4. Your inline 4 is, you know, rock solid. So before we get the hate mail, just putting that in there because we don't get it.
Yeah, look. Now, what I did notice actually during the week, and this is really now fucking stupid, weird shit, right? So we know the downward ducts on the bike, right? So obviously, let's just take the Ducati downward ducts where they come out, and they capture the air that's being disturbed by the front wheel and the brakes and the cowlings and whatever, and it gathers that air, channels it down under the bike, and away, and effectively reduces drag. Okay, in a straight line. Yamaha have patented a downward duct system. Now, I think it's interesting that they patented a downward duct system, because looking at the patent design for it, what it actually looks like is that it's obviously going to be coming to a road bike at some stage, or they're just patenting it so no one else can put it on a road bike.
Yeah. Well, Yamaha is known for patenting everything, but that's not another story.
So, but the patent, what it actually shows also is that it's going to take that air and channel it into cooling. So it's a really interesting pattern. So I saw the pictures and the designs of it, and then I was like wondering, like with the V4, or sorry, with the inline four, obviously it's wider, so it's a bigger aerodynamic brick than the V. Is this something that they're looking at of channeling that air somewhere else in the bike to maybe engage some sort of blown type diffusers or fucking whatnot? You know what I mean? So it is the age of Formula One technology coming into motorbikes. How do you gain an advantage? Look, they do have Dallara, who are one of the world leaders in motor racing manufacturers of aerodynamics and cars and whatnot. So I would be expecting a lot out of them. But I did notice there was definitely changes in the front nose cone and up by the front wing this weekend on the Yamaha. Just so, in case anyone else didn't see it. But I didn't see anything major on the Honda. I saw a new exhaust on the Aprilia. I did see Gigi actually messing with the Stegosaurus wings on the back of one of Pecco's bikes. And what I found
didn't work on anything.
But he wasn't working on them. He was actually pushing them. And what I was surprised.
What do you mean pushing them?
With his finger, you think?
What?
Literally. But what I was,
oh man, check this out, dude.
No, yeah, but like, okay, it seems innocent enough, right? But to someone who's into aerodynamics and stuff like this, you're looking at how much the top of that wing flexed with his push.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was only a slight push. It wasn't like do you know what I mean? It was just like a slight push. You could see the wings start to bend. So I wonder, and this is fucking, if you put like a yellow dot on that wing, right, and you watched that Stegosaurus wing during a race, I bet you would see it flex.
Yeah.
So this is what I think that Aprilia team mechanic, who also got fired apparently.
For the
what was scanning was
yes,
Jordan, because to the layman looking at that is a static wing that is just a rigid piece of plastic or carbon fiber that's not going to move. Get me? But it does move.
That's like the same thing they did with Mercedes at one time. Remember? That's what you're thinking of.
Yeah. And I was also looking at a picture. I think it is of 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. A Ducati from 4 or 5 years ago. And if you look at the front of the GP 22, 3, and 4 and the side wings on it, they're virtually identical. They're just, you could see this is where they started from, and this is where they've tuned it, if you know what I mean. But you could see the evolution of it, but you could see the basic part of it was there.
Credit cards at first, and somebody just took a staple gun and went, yeah, there you go. Second.
Yeah, it's just that it actually looks so similar. Just some parts have a bit more meat in them than others, and that's all it is. And it's just kind of it was just kind of a comment with it, is like when you find the right result and you just fine tune it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you look at the Yamaha and Honda and Aprilia and everyone else, and they went from this type of wing to a completely other different type of wing. Ducati actually haven't done an revolution. They've just done an evolution of the front.
Yeah.
So it's like they've stuck to their thing and they've made it work, which is very Ducati-esque. Like, remember when the carbon box, like, so they stuck with it when they knew they probably shouldn't have.
Oh God, they stuck with that way too long. That was ego.
Yeah, but this is kind of the same thing, but they've actually got it right now.
Yeah, but you know that carbon, everybody else had done that before and failed miserably. You see how bad the carbon was on the Ducati? That carbon, the carbon Ducati was far better than anybody else's experiment, and they just kept trying it, going, it should work. You know what I mean? This should work. We're better than they are. We should figure this out, and it just killed them. Can you imagine if they would have started her off in the right direction, where they'd be now?
Oh yeah. Look, that's what it is, and like I think it's great to see the 23 now coming into fold. There was a really good interview with Digi Antonio actually during the week, and he was asked about Marquez, and like he's the leading GP23 and whatnot, and they were asking like, what's the difference in the data? And Digi came out and he gave like a prime example, and he said the only difference is that to ride the GP23 well, you always have to go to the limit, or sometimes past your limit. And he just said Mark is very comfortable to go to that limit, and that's it. And like the amount of crashes this season, show that he's very comfortable.
It was great to see Marc Marquez win again. You know what I mean? So soon.
It is. And like what was very funny this morning was, right, and just so people understand, there was no rain scheduled for Misano on Sunday.
Yeah.
None. Right?
Not on me, because I was looking for it. You know what I mean?
No. And it was definitely. And Marquez's chief mechanic was asked about what does he think, and Frankie said, "Not a hope of winning. You know, we're too far back. Pecco and Martin, you know, we have similar pace to them, but you know,
you got to go through all the people."
Exactly, and we'll overheat the tires, and there's not a hope. Obviously, with the rain coming in, you know, he did look a bit like. They showed a picture of Frankie in the garage, and he looked completely shocked that Mark was out front. But I think, you know,
how much nicer? But to interject, how much nicer was the bike looking where it was white and he was wearing blue leathers than that? That's the one color I can't stand on a bike.
What color?
That sky blue, whatever the hell.
Baby blue.
It looks horrible. Yeah, on a bike. The other thing, like, it doesn't look bad on your shirt, right? Another thing, on a bike, for some reason it looks hideous.
Yeah. Well, like the livery he had on was the Fausto Grassini livery that they run in mainly in Italian Grand Prix.
Well, they should keep
it. Yeah, I like it. I think it's made. Obviously, it's made 3 or 4 appearances. Bastianini had it in 22. It ran in 23 then as well. So yeah, look, I think.
Well, let's put it this way: Grassini got to get rid of the baby blue. Somebody wake up and smell the coffee.
Yeah. Look. To be fair, I like look when I saw.
That's why the woman loves it. Nobody wants to tell her. You know.
Yeah. Well, look, Nadia. I'm sure Nadia.
Okay, it looks like shit, lady.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure Nadia would take that feedback very, very well. But look, like Grassini are going to go through a fucking hangover next season. Complete, like, fucking hell. Like Mark leaving, you know, rookie in. Alex Marquez is the lead rider. You know, sniff of an old podium, maybe. You know, so they're going to enjoy this, and it's good to see. For Mark, because I think he needed the victories to believe that he still has it, and you know, is he a title contender? I won't say he's not, but I don't think anyone is worried about him just yet. Do you know what I mean? I think he needs, as I said, I think he needs to get it down to 30 points. But I think there's going to be the hangover for Grassini next season with Marquez gone. You know, they're not going to get the success that they're going to achieve this season.
I think Primac is going to get a real kick in the balls. They're going to. They've had 20 years of doing great, and now they're going to be. I can't remember.
Well, they haven't. To be fair, they have 4 years of doing well on the Ducatis. Like, for fuck's sake, they had riders like Neil Hodgins and all of those who were very good superbike riders, but were nowhere near the talent needed in MotoGP. Do you know what I mean? Scott Redding, so it is going to be hard for them to take. But in saying that, look, I think there's the other side of the coin, and people will probably hate me for saying this, but MotoGP is going to now go through a massive transformation, where the results on track realistically won't matter, because it will all be about a social media event and all of this stuff, right? And I will fucking argue this point with anyone. Like, Formula One nowadays is not for Formula One fans. It's just fucking not, right? It is there for the fans on the side of the track and the fans at home. But the inner circle of Formula One is all about business, about marketing, about products. Like, realistically, you have sons of multi-billionaires buy their seats into the cars, hire the best things. It's not the essence of what Formula One was. Formula One was what it was, right? So, for example, Formula One, you would used to always race the stopwatch. The stopwatch never lied. Do you know what I mean? And you had the Hamilton Verstappen gate, and you had all of this fucking bullshit, right? You have people going to the race who weren't even fans, but they just wanted to say that they were at the Formula One race in Kota. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No.
You have the likes of Las Vegas. That to get a ticket for Las Vegas last year, right, was something like fucking $3,000 just to sit in the fucking seat.
Not my
this year. Yeah, this year now it's got to. But my point is, there's going to be the transformation with Liberty Media once they so Dorna and Liberty Media. Obviously, Liberty Media will now own Dorna from the end of the season, right? I think they'll take a year or two to kick going Dorna out. Now, Dorna have also signed, I don't know, did you see this? Dorna have signed with the FIM for a 36-year agreement till 2060. So, as I've mentioned multiple times, and no one believed me, the FIM are responsible for the regulations of and implementation and whatever of them. The sporting rights owner, which is Dorna, is kind of more of the event running and so they have a thing. Liberty Media obviously are buying it. They're not broke. They're not selling they are selling shares in Formula One to pay for thing. Now, Formula One is worth whatever, 21, 22 billion was the last offer that they had for Formula One. They bought it for 4 billion. So if you sold a little few shares to buy MotoGP, you're getting 2 premium sports free, realistically at this stage. So what will happen now is I think there's an awful lot to come within the series. I think it's going to change a lot. You're going to have, for people, I think it's going to be brilliant. You're going to have more access to writers. You're going to have more, and I mean media access now. I don't mean like you're going to meet. But then there will be the other thing, like, for example, the VIP packages now, and write it down, right? The VIP package for a MotoGP race for a day is like, for a weekend, is like €2,500, right? And that is meet and greet with the drivers, access to pit lane. You're out in the trackside when the MotoGP session is on. All of this fucking shit. And I can guarantee you that'll be $10,000.
Would it go that route, by the way, for next year?
That won't go immediately, but that's the way it will go to. Do you know what I mean? That it will be out of
No, I mean it's 2,500. Want to go that route for next year?
We can do. We can talk about it. But yeah, so we are planning. It's just in people who want to do it. We are planning to go to Kota, isn't it?
Kota, yeah.
Kota. Yeah, we're planning to go to Kota. We'd have to do a podcast, some pub in Kota.
Yeah, without a doubt.
We'd have to do a podcast. Try not get arrested.
And can you imagine? I want to sit there and where fanboys fear to tread.
Yeah. We'd have to do a podcast. No, look, I just think that there is going to be changes coming to the sport that maybe. Do I think the ticket price will go up? I think maybe. Ticket prices in general will go up. But saying that, like still, like I was looking there, Valencia, you can still buy a ticket like for 90 quid for the weekend. Okay, it's standing on a bank or somewhere, do you know what I mean? But like 90 quid for a weekend, 30 euros a day to watch the best riders in the world. And I think you can't.
Go over there and make up the difference for $2,500. If one's $2,500 for tickets and one is $30, it's crazy to pay me to go there.
It would, but that's obviously now. I think there's the VIP thing there. That's fucking different. That's a different kind of piss too. You know what I mean? But I'm talking about the Joe Soaps, and this is what I always worry about it in all forms of motor racing. Right? It's the Joe Soaps or the ordinary people that truly love the sport start to get pushed out of it. Do you know what I mean? And like you go to Formula One now, right? And you're talking a good for a good ticket, right? A good seated ticket in a grandstand, right? Nothing fucking meeting drivers or any of this shit, right? A good ticket in a grandstand that's covered out of the sun or whatever, out of the fucking rain, depending on what country you're in. You're talking about 400-500 quid for a weekend. That same ticket for a motorbike is probably 150.
Yeah, that's.
Do you get me?
Yeah, so it just takes a minute to soak in. I mean, that's just, and I don't know. Motorcycle racing is so much better than F1.
But look, it doesn't matter whether the racing is better or not better, right? But what
I know it's all the bragging rights. Yeah,
but there's a couple of things, right? The media comes out, right? Like we had it here in Ireland there was a band called Oasis. Don't know if you ever heard of them, right? They're huge in Europe and Ireland, probably in America too. But like I remember, like I saw them years ago and whatnot, and there was a rivalry between. It's like now where you hand their Yamaha between them and another band, right? They fucking hated each other and this, that, and the other. And anyway, long story short, Oasis announced a reunion gig here in Ireland, right? And didn't the ticket master or whomever it was that ran it, didn't they use dynamic pricing on the tickets? So an 86 euro standing ticket in the field rose to 455 euros.
Oh, how's that work?
Dynamic pricing.
Yeah, explain that one to me.
So dynamic pricing is literally it's supply and demand. So if the supply is up and the demand is low, and that's what will happen. I think there's a couple of things that will happen. MotoGP, Dorna will build, and they do what they did with Formula One. They will build up the media presence. They will build up the hype. They will do all of this with Formula One, right? Formula One will then turn around and charge the tracks. Okay, well, it's now a show. It's a show. I mean, there's a race and there's a show, right? Part of the show. Now, the show is going to generate, well, you're going to bring 250,000 people. They're going to spend $10, $12, $80, whatever the fuck, right? We're going to charge you $25 million to have the race. Do you know what I mean? Outside the grounds of the race, you can get sponsors or whoever the fuck you want, whatnot thing. But if you have 100,000 seats, realistically, you need to recoup an awful lot of that thing. Now, some countries, so let's just say England or whatever, the government, because it's an event for the track, they would subsidize some of it, not all of it, some of it. Do you know what I mean? They might give them 6 or 7 million. Do you know what I mean? But then the racetrack then has to think. Then the FIA come in, and then they take over the circuit on the Wednesday, and they give it back to you on the Monday. Does that make sense? So they take over the internal workings of the circuit, and you take over the crowd and all of that. So it's very but what that does effectively, they raise the race host fee to say what was 20 million is now 25 million. Do you know what I mean? It increases competition for races around the world. So if you want, I know for a fact that it cost Vegas 55 million or something last year to host the race. That's it. Do you know what I mean? 55 million. But if you're a small upcoming country, next weekend's race in Baku. You ever heard of fucking Baku?
No.
It's in Azerbaijan. But it's one of these emerging countries that are coming out now. Now, it's a lovely place. I've been there personally. It's a beautiful place. Beautiful, beautiful.
I thought it was a swamp.
No, that's when you leave the city and go out into the mountains. But again, it's one of these emerging places. They look at it and say, okay, it's going to cost us 500 million to put us on the map and use Formula One to do that. So it becomes a major marketing tool, and it comes more about marketing than the fans. And that's my only ever fear with the likes of Liberty. Saying that, then though, if you look at the Formula One, they do national deals with big TV stations, so they have high demand. So they'll have Formula One in Ireland and England, they have a dedicated Formula One channel. Do you know what I mean? So which is good. Do you know what I mean? And it's so if you're a fan of Formula One, you have access to all the stuff in the past and stuff like that. But look, it will be interesting. But it is one of the things where I do really worry about the future is that MotoGP will become more about a show than the actual racing.
Speaking of futures, okay, I was going to say something. CF Moto just came out with a 675.
Huh? It looked mint. The white and black one.
White, I don't know what color scheme.
He drove it out onto a stage.
I didn't see that. I just saw it was a 675, inline 3. And again, they came out and said they called it a Honda beater. They are just targeting Honda. And they say it is a Honda beater. It's directly made to beat the Honda CB600.
Yeah, well, look, I think
Honda has to get their shit together with their models.
But I don't think it's just necessarily within bikes. You look at it, you look at what's going on within the global economy of the EVs, right? China. I don't know if you know this, right? But the Chinese government are funding Chinese car makers.
Yeah.
To sell the cars into Europe, Europe specifically, under the cost to build them, just to get them flooding the market. And now the European government are putting a tax on it and whatever, and there's going to be mayhem over it. But my point is, I suppose, is that it's not just bikes where the Chinese market are going to do it. And when they're doing it, they're going to come, right? And that is a worry for Honda, right?
It's not wasn't that cheap. It was cheaper. It's $8,000, okay, which is like $2,000 cheaper, but it's 25% cheaper, right?
Mm-hmm.
But look at Aprilia. Aprilias are cheap. They run that 660 for 10 or 9,500 bucks. Okay,
mm-hmm.
Where the Honda is like $12,000. They got to get their shit together. And reliability is going to shit. They just had one. They said we want to have a run, a coast to coast run. And as soon as they said no, we won't do it because it's up against the whatchamacallit, sim or something like that, and they said no, we have. They just wouldn't. They said they just wouldn't run against it. They're afraid of the thing breaking down and it's up against the Chinese model and it's going to make them look bad.
I didn't hear that, but I will trump you, right? So something that's been, and I was going to do a video about this during the week, but I'll say it now. Repsol Honda will not be, or sorry, Repsol will not be re-signing their contract with Honda.
No, really.
Mm-hmm. So
wow,
that's it. End of the era for them. And my understand my now, I got wind of this about 3 or 4 months ago. And my understanding is that Honda are not looking to replace any sponsors as they go. So what Honda want to go back to is they want to go back to the Honda racing colors, which, to be fair, they have. When they do the Honda racing colors, they're actually some really nice designs. Do you know what I mean? So I will be.
Getting that, it looks good, you know.
Yeah, while it is kind of an end of an era, do you know what I mean? I'm kind of glad to see the back of the orange. Do you know what I mean? To see the thing, but like realistically, if you look at it nowadays, the Repsol Honda badging the Repsol badging on the Honda is fairly minimal nowadays compared to what it was. So it will be interesting to see. But my understanding is that Honda aren't even looking to replace them. They want to go with HRC colors.
It's Taiwanese. It's the Taiwanese bikes. They're stepping all over the Honda's bread and butter bikes. And they said we're not even making any bones about it. We're going after your bread and butter bikes.
Yeah.
Christ, I mean, get off the ball. And they lost comparisons. The last thing you want to do is lose a comparison against a Chinese bike or a Taiwanese bike. How bad does that look?
Yeah, look, I suppose. Look,
and they are. I mean, you ever sit on one of your new ones? That Honda Rebel, it nothing fits together. You know, you literally are like, this thing's not the finish in this thing. You know?
Yeah. I don't know. Look, I always kind of look at it this way, right? You know, when you're looking at models that, like, if it's a brand new model produced by Honda and it gets hammered by a Chinese bike or whatever, and you know, that's a worry. If it's a bike that was put out 2 years ago and a Chinese bike comes along and beats it, you're kind of going this, and then we have a, I don't know what way it is over there with G, right? But let's just say, how would I say? Let's just say a Ford car, right, or a Volkswagen. They would be kind of a popular mainstream mid-level car here, just say, right? And then you would have let's just say a Hyundai, right? Which wouldn't be as popular, or would have been seen as kind of a smaller marketed car, or not to car for when it came in was behind in technology and this, that, and the other. So it wouldn't be kind of whatever, right?
Right.
But what you tend to see is in the Hyundai, you get more for less.
Yep.
So, do you know what I mean? So these Chinese bikes are whatnot, probably funded by the government, like the EVs, selling well under being sold for well under the cost price for now. Do you know what I mean? To destabilize the US market or the European market. Do you know what I mean? So there's an agenda there that's not just related to motorbikes, if you get me.
Yeah, but when it comes out and it's a better quality, that's what's really.
But that's my point. Is like any company can build a really good bike, right? But it's building the bike for the bottom line dollar cost, right?
Right.
And if they're, so I suppose my point here is not that CF Motor are coming out and they're making a better bike and they're making it cheaper. I would probably contest that there's some shady shit going on behind it, where if you actually put the cost price of that bike it's probably well above. Above the sale price, if you know what I mean. So there is some underhanded stuff there, and
and Honda is more expensive than their fellow countrymen. They're more expensive. They're getting their be where they're more expensive and less, reliable than the Yamaha or the Kawasaki or the Suzuki, or and you're paying premium for that name,
Yeah, well, look again. There's
they're at the bottom of the list on everything they do for comparisons. They compare for what's the best thing.
But there is. But look again, the other side of the coin. When it comes to premium for names, look, you can go shopping. Fucking, we have a premium place called Dunn's, right, and we have a budget place called Lidl, right, and it's fucking down to choice. You can get a bag of chips in either. You'll pay €2 for one or €4 for another. But
is it one of those organic joints?
I can fucking tell you there is a difference in the taste. And it's just down to budget and what you need. Like if you have 5 kids, right, and you're going away and you're buying fucking €20 worth of €20 worth of chips, where you can get them for €5 in the other place, they don't give a shit. They're just going to fucking stuff their face. Do you know what I mean? It's fine. Whereas if you're single or you're with your missus or whatnot, and a bag of crisps or a bag of chips will last you the week, you might as well get the ones you come on. It comes down to choice, and some people are dedicated Honda people, and they'll never throw their leg over any other make. That's fine. So go with your brand. Do you know what I mean? It's hard for people though to change the brand.
Don't change anything. But I'm thinking to myself, if you put yourself in the seat of the executive, you think they'd be going, racing. I'm not worried about racing. I'm worried about, coming dead last in every comparison test, before I'm worried about racing, and having the highest price in every class,
I don't know.
They haven't cut I'm really surprised they haven't cut the damn budget versus throwing a ton of money into it.
Yeah, I get you. I don't know. I just find it very comparisons and stuff like that. I never read it.
I know you don't. You're old school, and
but it's not. It's not. It's like so. Like
don't forget here, especially we don't have as many people riding, so there are way less people per capita. So where are you going to get your information? You have to get it from a professional tester on the internet, or
Yeah, but
not that prevalent.
Yeah,
and people are stupid. They'll stay on the same. They think it'd be the biggest piece of shit, but they say, "Well, but I've always had one of these." But yeah, but you're bringing it into the shop every other month. Yeah, but I've always had one of these. It's like, okay.
I get it, but look, I think, I just think, I don't know. I just think it's like golf clubs. Some people, if you like the look of a set of golf clubs, you play better. It's like it's in the head. Like it's like you look at a bike and the bike turns you on. Even if the bike is a fucking pig, you will just say that's a beautiful bike.
I would.
It's just like it doesn't matter.
What's the best bike? And I always tell them the one you love the most. I don't care what the Chinese freaking scooter. Okay, if you love that bike more than anything in the world, that's the best bike because it's there to give you happiness. That's my bottom line for that.
But that's it, John. And so like for me, like I can guarantee you, right? Like you look at some of the MCN motorbike riders, right? I will never push a bike as hard on a track as they will, right? Never. I won't. So I'm like,
even on a track?
No. They'd be 2 or 3 seconds faster than I would easily. Do you know what I mean? Majority, they're good. They're good test riders, right? So I'm like,
I don't have their skill. Don't get me wrong.
It's complete. So for me, if they're like, it lacks feedback in the. I'm not pushing the bike nowhere fucking near what that. Do you know what I mean? So again, not really valid. Did you know what I mean?
You know what I had the luxury of having? I had all these bikes, 17 different bikes, and every super bike under the mother. Then I had a super bike team, and with a super bike, a racer, professional racer. So, and what I did is every time I did a build, I build every one of them, do a hot rod build on every one of them, right? I would change components on all of them, right? Like different suspensions, different brake systems. So, and give it to them because I said, I can't test it, ride it hard enough, brakes. How can I test the difference between the ISR brakes and the Brembo brakes? I can't ride it hard enough to test either one of them. All right. Yeah. Then I handed it over to him and he goes, oh yeah, the ISR brake's the best brake,
Yeah. But look, that's it. But like, again, it goes back to, but it doesn't matter because we're never going to push those bikes to the point of where those lads are. Like, and then you have a fella sitting down the road, right? And he'll say, "Oh, I don't like the position," right? But he could be fucking 3 feet fucking taller than what you are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, for me, when I look at a bike, I think it's a very personal thing. I think the minute you look at it, you'll know whether you like the bike or not. The minute you sit onto it, you'll know it's for you or not. Or the minute you drive it yourself, you'll know it's for you or not. Never mind what fucking dickhead down the road there says about it. It's this and that and it's the other.
You know what I'm surprised at that sold well? That Suzuki GS 800R, whatever the hell it is. GSX 8R. It's like $12,000 or something like that, between 10 and 12, depending on what things you have on it. It's not cheap. It has 80 horsepower. It's not fast. It's a parallel twin, so it's not tech. You know what I mean? It's unproven. And it doesn't even look that great. And I'm going, who bought this thing? They thought they were getting a deal because they were getting an 800, right? They're the same price as most people get 600s for, right? Yeah. But that's only because the 600s went through the roof, not because you know. Yeah. You got it back afterwards, pal. You didn't get a deal.
Yeah. Anyway, on that bombshell, we'll wrap up today's one. We will be back again next week. I'll try and do a video on tomorrow's test. We'll go from there.